Welcome back to Bleed Electrical. This is course on energy management and audit, and I'm Triveli Naidu from the Department of Electrical Engineering at St. Vincent Pallotti College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur. In the previous video, we have seen what is material balance and we have discussed numericals on material balance. Now in this video, I'll be covering what is a process flow chart, how to prepare a process flow chart, what are the different numericals of energy balance and what is energy balance? So let's get started. So firstly, let us discuss process flow chart. So what is this process flow chart? Flow charts are schematic representation of the production process. It involves various input resources, conversion steps and output and recycle streams. And the process flow may be constructed stepwise. That means you could indicate all the things that is happening in a process right from the raw material to the product. So let us take for example this. Now we are giving input to certain process. Let us say process step 1. It generates certain waste and certain output is given to next process. Now next process will also get some raw material or input and then it will produce resultant output along with the generation of some waste. So this could be an example of a process flow chart. So what are the things that we need to keep in mind while drawing or designing this process flow chart? First of all, the inputs of the processes could include the raw material, water, steam, energy. All these things have to be indicated carefully in the process flow chart. Secondly, the process steps should be sequentially drawn right from the raw material to the finished product. You can't take anything in between. You have to have a certain sequence in which it is coming from input to the output side. And intermediate and any other product should also be represented carefully. Then you have to keep in mind that the operating process parameters should also be mentioned, such as temperature, pressure, concentration, etc. And it should be represented properly. Then the flow rate of various streams should be appropriately presented in meter cube per hour or kg per hour. Okay, and then the very important thing of all, wastes and byproducts like resultant from these production processes, whatever byproducts of waste you get like solids, waters, chemical, energy, everything should be mentioned properly. And output of the process is the final product produced in the plant. So this is how you need to do. Now let us take example of process flow chart of pulp and paper industry. So what actually happens from right from the raw material to the final product, we'll see how the process flow chart or process flow diagram can be prepared. So if we talk about the pulp production, what actually happens? It goes to the wood yard, then wood yard would be going to the mechanical pulping section, then mechanical pulping section could lead it into thermomechanical pulping, or it could go to the ground wood. Then this ground wood can be sent for whitening and brightening, and then it goes for screening and cleaning. Then further uptakes are present to us. Okay, then bleaching is done, changing of color is done, and so many other things. This could be one aspect. Now we could also go for chemical pulping. So another option that we have is pulping and recovery, and there could be cyclic manner production of this pulping and recovery, and then it could go for screening and then further washing and another uptakes you get. So this is how the process completes as far as pulp production is considered. Talking about the waste product after bleaching, now waste product, the waste paper could be sent for the retreatment to the bleaching section. Now paper production, so paper production can be done and then can be sent to the stock preparation portion, and waste paper also can be treated to the stock preparation portion. So if some of the papers could be reutilized, can be sent to the stock preparation section. Then next to the wet end area, then dry end area, then coating, and then finally rewinding, and we get the finished product. So this is the paper product to the user. So this is representing right from the starting, that is the raw material, to the final product, how the things are happening. And plus we are mentioning what were initiated first and then what came to be last, and we are also signifying the flow of all these operations. So this is an example of process flow diagram of a pulp and paper industry. You could take any of the examples for understanding this topic. Now, energy balance. Coming back to energy balance, what is this energy balance? Obviously, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to another. So, energy can take many forms such as heat, kinetic, chemical energy, potential energy. But because of the interconversion, it is always easy to isolate separate constituent of energy balance. So this is a fact that we need to understand while we are performing energy balance situations. Now, primarily if we talk about the heat balances, the heat could be generated because of several reasons. It could be because of heat from electricity, it could be because of heat from fuel combustion, heat from mechanical sources, then heat from raw materials, then heat to the surroundings. Now, this heat could go as an output in product form, then this heat out in waste. So it could be wasted or simply it could go into products. So if I want to form a formula for all this, so I'll simply have to write the energy balance equation as the heat that is entering is equal to heat that is going out plus the heat that is going into the surrounding. So summation of all these things could result into the summation of all these things. So that is how we perform the heat balance problems. To understand this better, let us take an example or a numerical. So example of dryer heat balance. So let us take an example. A textile dryer is found to consume 4 meter cube of per hour of natural gas with a calorific value of 800 kilojoule per mole. And if the throughput of the dryer, that is the efficiency, what all amount of clothes are being fed to the dryer, is it able to with full efficiency give the dry cloth or not, that is the throughput of the dryer. Okay, if the throughput of the dryer is 60 kg of wet cloth per hour, drying it from 55% moisture to 10% moisture, estimate the overall thermal efficiency of the dryer taking into account the latent heat of vaporization only. Okay, so this is the question. We are given a textile dryer where we need to feed the wet cloth, and this wet cloth is supposed to get dry. So from 55 means the wet cloth was how much moist? It was 55% moist, and I am feeding it to the dryer, and the after the end product I'll get 10% moisture in the cloth. So I am reducing the moisture content of this cloth with the help of this textile dryer. And what is the flow rate of the natural gas that is being fed to the dryer in order to perform this operation? The flow rate would be 4 meter cube per hour, and the calorific value of natural gas is 800 kilojoules per mole. So we'll be using uh, all these data that has been given to us. And what is the wet? Now we have the weight of the wet cloth also, it is 60 kg, so we'll be using this also. Let's see the solution for this. If I talk about the cloth, now 60 kg of wet cloth is there. Now in this 60 kg of wet cloth, 55% of moisture is present. So if I take 55% means 0.55. So if I take the 60 kg of cloth, so weight of that moisture would be around 55% of the 60 kg, because in all what is the weight of the cloth? It is 60 kg, but that cloth, the weight of the cloth is not only because of the cloth, but it is because of the water also. So moisture is 55% of 60 kg. So what is, how much kg of moisture do I have? I have 33 kg of moisture. Okay, now coming to the next thing of this, now I'm having 33 kg of moisture, but the cloth also contains some dry cloth inside it. Bone dry means absolutely dry cloth. Okay, so it has to be 100 minus 55%. Okay, remaining, see, it is 55% we are feeding, no, with 55% moisture we are feeding the cloth, but there are certain ratio of cloth that is dry. So I need to find out that also. If I consider this 55% minus 100, or we can say 1 minus 0.55, and multiply with 60, then I get the absolute dry cloth. So according to my given data, I got 27 kg of bone dry cloth, that is absolutely dry cloth. Now, as the final product, now it says that it converts, the dryer converts from 55% moisture to 10% of moisture. If I consider this 10% of moisture, the moisture in the product will be how much? Then this is 27, that is bone dry cloth, okay, and it is considering that 10% of moisture is intact, okay, so 10% means 100 minus 10%, that is 9. Okay, so 27 upon 9, that is dry. So what quantity of dry cloth, absolutely dry cloth, that you're having is 3 kg. But now I had considered this dry plus wet cloth, then I had 33 kg, so I have to remove this from 33 kg. So the weight of the moisture removed per hour will be 33 minus this 3, so you get 30 kg per hour. This is the final weight that you have. Then now we are considering the latent heat of evaporation. So it is 2257 kilojoules per Kelvin. Okay, now heat necessary to supply would be this much is the weight. I've taken that, I've multiplied with the latent heat of evaporation. Then I get this answer 6.8 into 10 to the power 4 kilojoules per hour. So I need to calculate. So assuming the natural gas to be at standard temperature and pressure, 1 mole occupies 22.4 liters. So I'll be using this data, okay, because I'll be getting result in kg or I'll be getting the result in liters, but I expect it in mole. So we know the what you call conversion factor of converting 1 mole, which occupies 22.4 liters. So let us see. So I have to find out the efficiency of this dryer actually, okay. So rate of flow of natural gas is given to us, that is 4 meter cube per hour. Now, if I want to convert this into liters or kg, what will I do? 4 multiplied by 1000. This is the conversion factor. Okay, but I want to make it into moles. So I have to divide it by the conversion factor that has been given to me, because 1 mole occupies 22.4 liters. So I'll have to divide it by 22.4 liters. Now this gives me 179 moles per hour. So this is what I've got. Now heat available from combustion I need to find out. So heat available from combustion means this is what I had taken out, the flow rate of natural gas in moles per hour. I have taken this and I have to multiply it now by 800. So then I'll get the heat available from combustion. So now after finding out this, the value is 14.3 into 10 to the power 4 kilojoules per hour. Then finally, I need to find out the thermal efficiency of this dryer. What is the efficiency? Heat needed upon heat use. So that is why we had concluded with so many things we have taken out only for this formula. Okay. Now the thermal efficiency of dryer can be taken as heat needed upon heat used. What is the heat needed for this process to take place was that we calculated over here, heat necessary to supply, that is 6.8 into 10 to the power 4 kilojoules per hour, divided by, that has to be divided by the heat that is used. What is the heat used? 14.3 into 10 to the power 4 kilojoules per hour. So finally you get the efficiency as 48%. Okay, now this dryer is going to have a efficiency of 48%, and it is going to dry the cloth with a content of moisture as 55%. Right from there it would bring and dry the cloth to 10% moisture. So this is what is the efficiency of this dryer. So you found this is the perfect example of heat balances. Okay, this is how we solve the problem on heat balances. Okay, let us take one more example. We'll talk about an autoclave. Okay, autoclave heat balance in canning. Okay, now this autoclave contains 100 cans of pea soup. Now it is heated to an overall temperature of 100 degrees centigrade. If the can are to be cooled to 40 degrees centigrade before leaving the autoclave, how much cooling water is required if it enters at 15 degrees centigrade and leaves at 35 degrees centigrade, and the specific heats of the pea soup and the can metal are respectively 4.1 kilojoules per kg degree centigrade and 0.50 kg per kilojoules per kg degree centigrade. The weight of each can is 60 grams and it contains 0.45 kg of pea soups, and assume that the heat content of the autoclave walls above 40 degrees centigrade is 1.6 into 10 to the power 4 kilojoules, and that there is no heat loss through the walls. So this is the question given to you. What is this autoclave actually? It is an arrangement in which you're feeding this pea soups. Okay, there are 100 cans of pea soup which will be given on this tray and will be fed to this autoclave. Okay, and it will be treated in the autoclave. Now what is happening actually in the autoclave? The temperature is now getting cooled. Okay, so if the cans enter into it will get cooled and it will become 40 degrees centigrade before leaving the autoclave. So how much cooling water will you provide to this autoclave in order to have this operation done? Now this cooling water fed to this autoclave when it enters this autoclave is 15 degrees centigrade, and this cooling water will take away all the heat, will extract all the heat from this pea soups, the cans of the pea soups, and it will turn to be 35 degree because it is taking all the heat away and then it is liberating it is sent out. Okay, so it leaves at a temperature of 35 degrees centigrade. And we are also given the data of the specific heats of particular pea soup and its can metal. So, and weight is also given for the same. So let's see how to calculate this. And we are also given this, the content of autoclave walls above 40 degrees centigrade is this. So heat content of autoclave wall is also given to us. So wall, the pea soup, the pea can metal, and the water that is entering inside would be something we'll be focusing on. So let's see how it is solved. Now first of all, I don't know the weight of water. So let me keep the weight of water. That is what I have to find out, right? I need to find out W. So let me assume W be the weight of the cooling water required. And the datum temperature of this would be 40 degrees centigrade, and the temperature of the can leaving the autoclave. Okay. Then now heat entering. Now this heat entering, heat in the can, we'll firstly find out the heat entering and then the heat leaving, and then we can equate it. Okay, so firstly we will find how much heat is entering. Okay, so the formula for heat entering would be weight of cans into specific heat of temperature, into specific heat into temperature above datum. So we have to substitute all these things for getting the heat in the can. So weight of the cans, how do you calculate? That was given in grams, so I need to convert it into kg. So I'm multiplying with 1000 into specific heat. It is also given to us kg, kilojoules per kg, so I've taken that also. Now temperature about datum. Okay, now the temperature about datum while entering, it said it was, it was a hot body. Okay, when once it enters, let us take the basis as 100, and then while it's leaving it is 40. So 100 minus 40, this is how much you get the heat. Okay, so finally you get the answer as 1.8 into 10 to the power 3 kilojoules. Now heat in the can contents. Now these pea soups were in the can. Okay, so now can will also have to, we have to calculate for can also what amount of heat was there in the can content. So weight of the pea soup into the weight of the pea soups into specific heat into temperature about datum. Now let us see. Now let us substitute all these values. It was 0.45 grams, so we are converting it by multiplying by 100 into specific heat was given to us as 4.1. Datum temperature here is also 40, so 100 minus 40. So now you get the answer as 1.1 into 10 to the power 5 kilojoules. Okay, now heat in water. This is heat in can contents. Now heat in water, third thing. So which is again equal to weight of water into specific heat into temperature about datum. So but while entering, what was the temperature of water? It was mentioned 15 degrees centigrade. So here W, so I don't know the value of W, so I have written W only. Okay, now temperature, so specific heat is given of water is this 4.186, and temperature about datum would become 15 minus 40, because while entering it was 15 and while going it was 35. Okay, so I have taken it as 15 minus 40. While entering it was 15. So altogether you get this much of, this is the relation actually you get, minus 104.6 W kilojoules of water you are getting. Okay, now let us find out for heat leaving. Now heat leaving, again we'll have to calculate for the can. So can would be the same weight and everything, but the temperature will now change. While leaving, the temperature was 40, that was the datum temperature. So the result is 0. And again secondly, the heat in can contents would be this. Again we have changed the values except for the temperature. Okay, so we have changed the temperature value and again it is coming out to be 0. Whereas if we talk about water, heat in water is what? W into 4.186, that is the specific heat, and into 35 minus 40. So that is what you get. Now you are having all the heat entering as well as you are having the heat leaving. Okay, now next. So heat energy balance of cooling process at 40 degree as datum line, we can see heat entering in cans 1800, in can contents so 11 tetra 4, and then you have heat in autoclave walls. This was mentioned in the question, 16,000. Then heat in water is minus 104.6 W. W is not known to us. And then lastly we have the total of all the heat entering, that is 127.8 minus 104.6 W. And then heat leaving. So heat leaving would be heat in the can, that was calculated as 0. Then heat in can contents, it was also calculated as 0. Then heat in autoclave walls, that was also calculated as 0. And heat in water, that was minus 20 W. Then the total heat leaving the system was minus 20 W. Now W is not known to us. Then we can have a energy balance formula. What is the energy balance formula? Heat entering is equal to heat leaving. So if we substitute this, we get this formula. So this has to be equated with this and you finally get the value of W. So amount of cooling water that is required would be 1527 kgs, 1527 kgs. So this is the answer. So I hope you understood this. Okay. Now coming to the next numerical. Example of refrigeration load. Now we have been given this question. It is desired to freeze 10,000 loaves of bread, each weighing 0.75 kg, from an initial room temperature of 18 degrees centigrade to a final temperature of minus 18 degrees centigrade. We are told to freeze this 10,000 loaves of bread, and how much is the weight of one bread? It is 0.75, and the temperature has to be reduced from 18 to minus 18 degrees centigrade. The bread freezing operation is to be carried out in an air blast freezing tunnel. So there has to be a proper flow of air. So it is found that the fan motors, obviously it is air blast, so for giving the air we are having this fan, and the motors of this fan are rated at a total of 80 horsepower, and the measurement suggests that they are operating at around 90% of their rating. So if I am having 80% horsepower but it is only operating at 90% of this 80 HP. Okay, under which condition their manufacturer's data claims a motor efficiency of 86%. Now that too with the efficiency of 86%. Now this conversion factor has been mentioned over here. If 1 ton of refrigeration is 3.52 kilowatts, estimate the maximum refrigeration load imposed by this freezing installation. Now for two conditions, one condition would be that the fan and motor are all within the freezing tunnel insulation, and second, the fans are there but the motors are outside the tunnel. Okay, so here the fan and motor both are in the tunnel, and here fan and motor, fan is in the inside the tunnel, the freezing tunnel, but motor is outside. Because now how does this affect? If motor is inside, means motor will also give out some heat in the form of waste energy. Okay, so it could affect the freezing temperature. So the heat loss rate from the tunnel to the ambient air has been found to be 6.3 kilowatts. So this is the question given to us. So let's see the solution for this question. Now solution. Now, firstly, the extraction rate from freezing bread, that is maximum temperature, would be 104 kilowatts. Now, fan rated horsepower is given to you as 80 HP. But 80 HP, but we have to convert it in kilowatts. So, 1 kilowatt So 746 is equal to 1 horsepower. We know this, okay, or 746 watts, whatever you want to take. Now this motor efficiency is only 90% of the rating that we have seen in the question. So now firstly find out what is the maximum amount of this thing we are feeding to it. So fan plus motor power will be how much? 80 is the rated, and it is of 90% to 90% of 80. So 80 into 0.9 multiplied by, I want to convert this, I don't want it into horsepower, instead I want to convert it in kilowatts, so I'm multiplying by 0.746. Then now first condition was with motor and fan in the tunnel, both are inside the tunnel. What will happen? So in that case, the heat load from the fan and motors would be 53.7 kilowatts. That is this, what we have just calculated. Then in that case, the heat load from ambient would be 6.3 kilowatt. It has been already mentioned in the question. Then, so total heat will be because of these two things. So 53.7 plus 6.3 plus what is the maximum freezing for the bread? 104 kilowatts. So we'll have to add all these things for this with motor and fans in the tunnel. So this is the total heat load that you get. So now this is not sufficient. I have to calculate in terms of tons of refrigeration. So conversion factor has been given to you in the question, and accordingly you convert it into tons of refrigeration. Now second question arises with motors outside. The fan should be inside and the motor should be outside. So what happens in that case? The motor inefficiency could be taken as, because it is only 86% efficiency that we are having. So how much inefficiency is there? 100 minus 86%, that is 1 minus 0.86. So this does not impose any load on the refrigeration. So the total heat load would now become what? This again we are substituting the same value, the extraction bread from the freezing bread, that is 104 plus 0.86, that is 86% efficiency of what? Of this value 53.7. So this is the efficiency, so we are multiplying simply, plus what is the question? In the question we are mentioned that total heat load. So the total heat load from ambient is 6.3, so we are taking that 6.3 over here. Then again you calculate, then you get the answer as 156 kilowatts, but you have to convert it into tons of refrigeration. Then it would become 44.5 tons of refrigeration. So followed, this is what you do in case when the motor and fans were inside the tunnel, and what you do when it was outside the tunnel. So this is how you find out. So that's all for this video. Thank you. Keep watching.